Thank you for joining us. This is Health Your Own Way podcast, and I am your host, Mo Atkins. Welcome to another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about the 5 steps to starting your own self-care journey. I'm actually looking forward to having this conversation because Miss Turner, or Mrs. Turner, she can correct me. Danielle Turner is an LCSW best-selling author, a self-care advocate, and the CEO and the owner of Inner You Clinical Services. I got that right, Danielle?
You got it.
Perfect. Great. Anything else you want to add before we start today?
Other than I'm the host of the Purple Butterfly podcast, and I have a self-care group on Facebook for women, which is Inner You Self Care. So feel free to join my community as well.
I love that. We're going to have that in the show notes, but I have to ask you, when you came up with Inner You, you have to explain that to me. Where did that come from? Like, I want to understand that.
So for me, healing really starts from within.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times our trauma and our healing has to do with that inner child that we have. And so, my slogan is healing starts from within. And so just the inner you and learning to heal that inner inside, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
is really where that name came from.
I like that because I think a lot of us don't know we are suffering from trauma.
Right.
Or some of
Sure.
us, yeah, like I think for me personally, I didn't realize I was suffering from trauma until you understand what the definition of trauma is, right?
Yes.
So it's hard. Like, I know that we're going to be talking about the 5 steps, but in your own words, what does trauma mean? Like,
Well, I think, like you said, sometimes we are in a space of like depression or anxiety, but we've been like that all of our lives. So we think that that's normal. We don't even know what that is until maybe somebody says, hey, like you're always isolating, or you're always sad, or you're always crying, or you're always, really nervous and fidgeting. So again, I don't know that we always even know, like you said, that we have any mental health issues, because it's just what we do. It's our life. So this is how we're supposed to be. This is how like my mom was, or this is how my dad was. So I just think I'm supposed to to be like this. Um,
yeah, I agree with you in that. And I know we're going to be talking about the 5 steps. So then I guess this would be a great segue because when we're dealing with trauma or anything that we're not self-aware, I think self-care then becomes a huge factor, right?
yeah.
So
Mhm.
to you, how important is self-care, like when it comes to dealing with either trauma or just trying to just find yourself in general?
I think it is like top priority. Taking care of yourself is what you have to do in order to even begin to really take care of anyone else. And just being able to put yourself first, because then everything else will fall into place. But when we're just on the go and we're just worrying and people pleasing and just taking care of everyone else, what happens when we pass out on the ground?
You know,
Right?
you're not people pleasing anybody anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. So you have to be able to take care of yourself, because it's just important. We need it for our mental health. We need it for just our sanity. We need it to be able to help others. You know how they say you got to fill your cup, and whatever's left over is what I give to everybody else. But I'm filling the cup up for me, and whatever runs over, then you can have the rest of that.
I appreciate you saying that because I think what's funny is I saw a meme yesterday and I was like, at one point, everybody, you met me at the time where I was a people pleaser. I
Mhm.
was at a point where I didn't have any boundaries, but let me reintroduce myself and now I have boundaries, right? So it really shook my head. So I know we talked about the 5 steps. So then people are listening to you, Danielle, and they're saying, okay, you talk about 5 steps. What 5 steps can I do that will help with my self-care that you can share with us today?
Well, one thing is developing a plan,
Love that.
because a lot of times we don't even know what self-care is, right? And so for some people, self-care is getting maybe their nails done. That's self-care. To me, that's not self-care. That's just me going to get my nails done because that's just what I do, right? So for me, that's maintenance. Versus someone else, that could actually be self-care because it's not something they do every 2 weeks, right? So develop a plan, really dig deep and figure out what self-care really is for you. And recognize that self-care isn't always about like going to the spa or going to the gym. Self-care is about setting boundaries. It's about not people pleasing. It's about, doing that emotional inner work to feel like a whole. and not, no offense, go, I get my nails done, I get my feet done all the time. Have at it if that's what self-care is for you, but really dig deep and figure out what self-care is for you. Because what it is for me is going to be different than what it is for Mo,
Fair enough.
and really think outside the box. So, one thing for me, which I had to learn, is organizing is a form of self care for me.
Mm,
I love to organize. So, when things are not organized in my home, I'm not in a good space. So, you would not, it wouldn't be strange for you to walk in the house and everything's out my kitchen cabinets and I'm like reorganizing and putting it back because then I'm in a good space. That makes me feel good. So really thinking outside of the box, but I had to really think about that because, it makes me feel good to reorganize my closet and purge and get rid of things and have it looking a certain way. So for me, that's self-care. So really think outside the box. If you like to sharpen pencils, get a box of pencils and sharpen away. Have at
okay, all
it.
right. That's step one. Move about step two.
So step two is really scheduling it,
Okay.
like put it in your schedule because a lot of times we'll say, oh, we don't have time. I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have time to go take a walk. I don't have time to sit down and read. We do. We have 5 to 10 minutes. If you can sit and scroll on Instagram for 30 to 45 minutes,
Speak, my dear, speak.
you have time to do something that you enjoy, reading a book, taking a walk, whatever it may be, sitting, self reflecting, relaxing, just resting is self care. So put it in your schedule, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes a day to do something. And like tell everybody, like, listen, leave me alone from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning because I'm going for that hike or I'm gonna go, do some meditation, or I'm gonna go do some yoga, or I'm gonna get to the gym, whatever it is. So put it in your schedule. And then once you have it in your schedule, actually do it.
Act on
A
it.
lot of times we say, oh, on Saturday I'm gonna do XYZ, and then Saturday comes and we don't do it, right? So actually put in the work, put it in action. And ways to do that could be like affirming yourself, allowing yourself to know that you deserve some self-care, visualizing, okay, what is my day or what is my life going to be like when I actually am taking care of myself? Um, saying no, setting those boundaries, again, letting people know this is my time to take care of me and this is my set time. So, doing those things, listening to your body is putting it in action as well. And then after you put it in action, monitor how you're doing. Like really check in with yourself to see how it's going. Because a lot of times we may get into a routine, right? And then it becomes a rut. And then we're just doing it just because, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. Versus is it really actually making a difference? And if it's not, switch it up. Right. So when you develop that plan, you made that list of things that you enjoy, switch the list up every so often. Make sure that it's actually still working for you versus just doing the same thing. Cause then you're gonna lack motivation and then you're gonna be like, oh, this isn't working. Self-care doesn't work for me. So why do I have to keep doing this?
I hear
And
what
then
you're
the,
saying. Go ahead.
the fifth thing to do is get an accountability partner. Have someone that you can really depend on. Like I'm very big on having like a business bestie. Well, have a self-care bestie. Have someone who is checking in, someone that you can actually do some things with if you want to. Um, Reach out to a therapist if some of the challenges due to your mental health. There's self-care, like I do coaching around self-care, reach out to a coach. So just have someone that you can depend on that's going to help you through the journey.
I appreciate you saying that because I think a lot of people just think, oh, self care is just relax. Like there's certain steps. There's like you said, you have to plan. If you're in a plan, you have to schedule it because it's great to have a plan. But if you have nothing, if you haven't put any action or you haven't kind of defined that it may be a priority, it's great to have an idea and then just actually following through. And if you struggle with following through, having someone like a buddy or an accountability partner to make sure that you follow through that self care. Because when it comes down to it, like you are one person. Like right now,
Mhm.
you have one life to live. You kind of have to make sure you enjoy it and you can make sure you are happy in the process. So I
Right.
appreciate you saying that. Now I
Mhm.
know that you have a podcast called Purple Butterfly. So
Yes.
share with me why you created the Purple Butterfly.
So I am in addition to like the healing your inner self, I'm very big on I love butterflies and purple is my favorite color. So why not, right?
I love that.
It's
I
my
love
favorite.
that.
And purple means royalty and rich, you know.
I
So
like
like, let's
that.
be some royalty while we're at this healing stuff, right? So butterflies are all about transformation.
Oh,
Like
nice.
every stage of their life, they are growing, they are changing, they are doing something to better themselves to the next stage. And so for me, that's what butterflies, means, and it's why I have it in my logo. Because we're transforming, we're struggling to turn into something beautiful. Butterflies struggle out that cocoon, but when they come out, they're beautiful. So that's really where that came from. And my podcast is really all about mental health, wellness, self-care. We talk about some of everything from, you're a guest, we talked about strength training, food, fitness, yoga, business, just a little bit of everything and how it just relates to our overall wellness.
I appreciate saying that. Now, if anybody was interested in learning more about what you offer, either your Facebook group, your podcast, or even just reach out to you to see how you can help them, what's the best platform to reach you out on?
So on Instagram and Facebook, it's Interview Clinical Services LLC. Feel free to reach out to me that way. My website is interviewllc.com. So you can also get to me that way and via email, Danielle Turner at interviewllc.com as
Perf-
well.
Perfect. I'm going to have that in your show notes as well as the video. And I think before we let you go, anything that we could be excited for you, what's next in your journey?
Well, right now, along with the self care, I am doing a series of workbooks and journals. So I
Nice.
have two in the series out right now. I just completed the morning mindset workbook because I'm very big on a morning routine and being able to self reflect and walk out the door with a positive attitude and have that gratitude and manifesting and affirming yourself. So both of those, there's one is the Inner You self-care workbook, and then this new one is the Inner You morning mindset workbook. Both of those are on Amazon as well
Oh,
and for purchase. So yeah, do that work in the morning. It's important.
I
How we
appreciate.
start our day dictates how our day could turn out.
It's true. I think I spend time just lying in my bed for an hour or
Mhm.
so. I'm just like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to face
Yeah,
that world yet. I think I'm just gonna stay here for a second and just mindlessly just relax and maybe
exactly.
search the internet for some entertainment before I have to do.
Yeah,
Because
you
once you
listen
get
to your body,
honestly,
and your
once
body
you
said, "I'm going to lay here today," and that's okay.
there's days like that. Once I step my foot off my bed, I'm just like, it's a
Mhm.
go. You're going
Yeah.
nonstop. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
so you need to get your self-care before you go because it's gonna be
Exactly.
needed. So
Mhm.
I appreciate this conversation and I want to say thank you. I think what you
You
do is beautiful. I think a lot of people don't understand how important is self-care. And I'll cut people off for my self-care. I'm sorry. I will cut you off for my self-care. My mental state is number one in my
I
life.
hear you.
No. Thank
Mhm.
you, love. I appreciate this conversation.
Thank you. It's been great.
We're glad to have you join us. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, share with anyone that needs to be empowered and inspired, and don't forget to join us next week for the next episode of Health Your Way podcast. Have a good day, you guys.